All right, so we are taking a look at Streamer Screamer, and I'm joined by two of the developers. We've got Alex and Drew. Thank you for coming on the stream. How are you guys doing?
I'm
I'm
doing
doing
great.
good. Doing good.
Doing great.
All right,
Happy to
so
Happy
be
to be
here.
here.
excellent. So I will get the game running here, and I was told to just turn that down
Yeah,
just a little
just
bit.
give it a sec.
Whose voice is that?
That's
Those are
both of
our
us.
voices. Yeah, I'm the second verse. Alex is the first verse.
Oh my goodness, that's
Yeah.
that's great.
Technically, my job on this was making all of the music, and so every year it's something like that.
Oh my goodness. Well, let's get into that then. So I guess I always just go alphabetically, but yeah, Alex, can you talk a little bit about your background in game development and your role on this project?
Yeah. So I'm still in college. I'm a university student. I'm graduating this year, and I was originally a computer science major. So I was like I've been in and around game design like because I like video games and stuff, but I ended up switching my entire discipline during our sort of run as Bokiki Soft, which started back at the first GMTK game, or not, or our first GMTK game jam was the 2021 one, and then we just decided to make it a yearly tradition, and so we did the second one, and then the third one was this. My role changed pretty immediately as like coding sort of stopped being my interest, and I got more into like broadcasting and audio and stuff like that, music. So like I've been doing all the songs, all of the audio. Actually, the voice of the character is also me, and it's very funny to hear what's his name, uh, the oh my god, the guy,
Mark Brown?
Mark Brown. Thank you. It's really funny to hear Mark Brown like talk about like all of the cool stuff, all of like the stories that I'm telling, because some of the stories are like relatively true and some of them are just like completely made up in the game. But I'm the voice of the streamer. I'm also I was responsible for the music and the sound effects, basically all of that, and all of course coming up with the idea and like doing stuff in the production process.
What is this thing that I found here? This like cube
Oh,
intersecting
the
cube thing.
Tesseract.
Oh yeah.
That's the players. That's the not you, the player, but the other player is trying to get all those.
Oh, hang on. So the other player?
Yeah,
The basically the idea
side
is,
player.
yeah.
So if you look down, I don't know if you saw. If you look down, you'll see the other player live streaming. If you
Oh
just
my
look straight
god.
down on your thing.
Okay, I was like, where does the tablet factor into this? You know, I just unfortunately, it's just a byproduct of the format of the stream is I want to make sure that I'm focusing on what both of you are saying as opposed to what the pre-recorded dialogue in the game is. So sorry I missed that. But
Sure.
okay, so I see. I'm looking at their tablet and that's giving me the heads up of like where they are, where they exist, and where I can go spook them. But yeah, I didn't realize it was just literally a matter of looking down. So thank you for clarifying that real quick.
Oh yeah, we could have. I mean, we could have done something fancier, but for 48 hours, that's what worked.
Yeah. Gotcha.
48 hours like in between like jobs and like
Oh yeah, this year we kind of our last 2 years doing this, we had a lot of wiggle room with time. This time it was very it was tough to get it all in our schedules. We managed to do it because it ended up. I think I was working. It was just me. Both these other guys were busy for the first like 6 hours or something, right? Something like that.
yeah, I think we like got on a Discord call. I think I was driving to meet one of my friends to go drinking by a lake.
Jax was at a summer internship because we're all students now, but yeah. So and then Jax was at an internship thing, and he drove home that afternoon to do this from Boston. We're in New York, so yeah. That was maybe if he had started it out, he did most of the programming for this. I did a bit helping out and stuff. Maybe if he had started it out, it'd be something a little fancier. But I just did what worked, I guess.
And so yeah, Drew, what was your you did some of the programming, and then what else did you do on the project?
Yeah, so I did. I guess so we all sort of had a hand in the design of the concept and how it was going to be executed. Just sort of that was like casual spitballing. I was responsible for. I did all of the most of the art assets, or at least like all the like original art assets. The stuff like the streamer and like UI elements and things like that. I also built out the terrain. I like built out the whole map and stuff. We did use some pre-made assets, which was I think just the terrain, or not the like all the buildings and the trees and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I was mostly responsible for art stuff, and then I did a bit of some of the coding and stuff too.
Man, that entire time I was just running around trying to get myself on camera so I could see what my model looked like.
Oh yeah, I did also do the character models.
Yeah.
I am not the greatest 3D modeler, which is why I used a lot of pre-made stuff. I did make that little pole. That was one thing I did make, that little siren pole. Also, the hands on when you're looking at the tablet, the little hands holding it are edited photos of my hands, or I made them look gross and stretched out the fingernails.
Creepy. No, but it's a great touch though. Yeah. So can you talk a little bit about the inspiration behind this game?
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. The theme was roles reversed. I think this was one we were just shooting a bunch of ideas around, and I think
this one like immediately stuck. I think this was one that like we all got immediately excited about.
We were like, this one is the one. This one is so nuts. I feel like yeah. Usually we spend like an hour on just brainstorming in the prior years, but this one was very much like no, I think this one would be funny if we did this. Yeah. I think it was inspired.
It's like it feels a lot more like a tech demo. It's like it's a little like haphazardly put together. Our other games are very like complete arcade shooters, and this one is very, we're just like we're gonna do something fun and ambitious this year, and we're not gonna get it all done, which is why it was kind of a surprising when we did very well.
It was definitely. I think this was like. Usually, I think for me, at least when I'm making games and stuff, it's very much like I want to have the finished game kind of in my head and then work towards that. But with this one, it was very much just like, we're just going to figure it out as we go. So it was very fun. Kind of scary, but also very fun. Very new for me, I think.
So, by the way, what's raising the tension bar along the left side there?
I couldn't tell you exactly because that would be a great Jax question since he was the one who coded that. But it's usually a sort of you want to sort of build up the meter by having the streamer spot you, and then you sort of build it up, and then you turn that into a big jump scare.
Right.
in my head, this looked a lot like a it, I think I had originally pitched like a style system, something like of course not like Devil May Cry or something, but like like to give like a ranking at the end of a certain period. But Jax ended up coding in the tension bar, which for me I actually never experienced because it didn't work on my version.
I think for inspiration, you're saying, I think I would say sort of, it's sort of like, I guess it's the sort of post like Five Nights at Freddy's horror boom. I think we imagined this as like the sort of like knockoff of a knockoff you would find for free on like the App Store. Like imagine you playing one of those sorts of games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's the kind of thing I could imagine Markiplier. Hello, everybody. This is Markiplier.
Yeah.
Today we're playing Streamer Screamer.
It's funny how many times we did that exact impression while while actually making the game.
But he's incredibly consistent, so he does lend himself to an impression when all you have to do is just say those exact words.
Oh, exactly.
Thanks for the sub, Mark Brown.
all of the text is I don't know what it is actually.
Yeah,
Oh,
that was actually something where we kept being like so doing the sub messages and stuff was something we talked about. It was like, oh, that'd be fun, but we I don't think we're gonna have time for it. It was also in the chat, but Jax, the way he is, will just sort of he will like implement a feature that he thinks is funny and then not tell you about it until it's done. So I think I missed the last I missed like the last morning of the jam. I missed the last morning of the jam. And so like I didn't see the game get wrapped up, and then I ended up like having to download it and play it when it was done, and it was just like that was just there, and I I had not been told he added that, the little sub messages and stuff.
Yeah, so, he'll just like be up all night working on something, and I'm like, hey man, like this is unnecessary, and he'll be like, yeah, but it'll be funny if it works.
I was almost wondering if the like sub from Mark Brown came in right at the end cutscene there. Does the game just run for like a fixed length of time, or like what actually makes it draw to a conclusion?
I don't think anything. I think you just gotta close out.
No, it does finish. I think it's when the guy gets all the collectibles is when it ends.
Because it just ended there, and you'd only found like 5 out of 8 of them.
Oh, maybe it is I guess it might be a time thing. I'm sorry, we can't answer these.
That's okay. That's okay. It's a mystery.
Yeah, not even we know. That's look, when we need Matt to make a lore theory video about what makes the game end.
That would be the most like perfect like eldritch game that not even the developers understand how the mechanics work.
It came to me, and I made this while I was in a half asleep. I was in a stupor.
I think when I came in, I think like I worked. I think I like was like half a bottle of Moscato like in, and I walked in to the room, and I was like, we're gonna go now.
Man, this person's got 50 viewers and they're not even trying. It makes me feel inadequate.
Yeah, sorry about that. That's all me. If you tell a story about like what I don't even remember. He was talking. I remember Mark Brown said something about dreams. He referenced one of the stories I told about dreams, and that was like a real dream I had. Just like I don't know if you've had a play, but like it randomly, basically, we're shuffling randomly through like minute-long diatribes of like me just spitballing, like improvisational stories. I think I was laying down for some of these. Like I don't even think I was standing up. I think I put like a pillow next to the microphone so we could cut out all the noise, and then I threw it into Audacity, and basically just they have like a feature where you can eliminate background noise, and so I just like use that.
Nice.
But like hearing Mark Brown go like it talks about dreams, I'm like, oh, so Mark Brown knows that like I had a dream where like I was covered in ants and ticks and like and all my friends were like, oh, that's a nightmare, and I'm like, no, it's not a nightmare. That was it's really funny.
I guess it's a matter of perspective.
Yeah.
Jax also went crazy with the like he went above and beyond with the implementation of this dialogue. You know, we took these long takes of Alex, probably 2 minutes for like all the little rambling ones are probably 1 to 2 minutes. He chopped them up, and then what he did is he made it so that the guy can be in the middle of telling a story and then get interrupted by like seeing a thing, and then he'll go back to that story afterwards.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I'm seeing you pick up I'm seeing you watch the AI pick up the Tesseract. I think is the Tesseract still a picture of what was it? It's Mike Ehrmantraut, but what's the actor's name?
No, it's the I think it's just like the unwrapped texture of the player character. It's just on there.
I'm also completely lost and have not been able to locate the player despite having. Oh, there. Finally. But yes, this entire time I've been trying to track down the player and just not being able to place it based on site cues.
I think part of me wanted to make this like a puzzle game, but like there's no way. Just given like how much we know about how actually you could probably speak to how the AI works because I have no clue.
Not really.
No, well, you know how we did it, right? It's Unity just had, but we used that tool.
It's a Unity. We use like a nav mesh, which sort of just tells it where it can walk and stuff. And then I think Jax made a sort of priority system where it has things it'll want to do and stuff like that. I think mechanically, if we were to expand the game, I imagine it is almost like a light immersive sim where you're kind of like doing different interactions and such.
Yeah, so like small things to like build that tension meter up, like spooking the player. Did you ever because obviously the game is very reminiscent of Slender the Eight Pages. Did you see that there was an actual like multiplayer version of Slender at one point? Like I don't know if it might have even been like a Gmod thing, but somebody made a version of Slender that like one person was the human, or there might have even been multiple humans, but like someone was the Slender Man, like actually teleporting around and spooking the people who were trying to collect the pages?
No, I have not seen that. I guess that is almost similar to our game, just without the strange meta streamer stuff going on.
Just because the general idea of doing things to build tension, like, because games that are all about just like the jump scare are not all that. Not I would not call those effective horror. I think those are just like, it's hard to avoid being startled when something just makes a loud noise and flashes a bunch of images in your face. But games that actually effectively build tension are a little further and fewer in between. And I think that giving the role of building the tension to the player is a really interesting thing to explore, because you have to think about what are the things that actually do build tension. Like, it's not just you have to maintain sort of like a roller coaster, right? You can't just constantly being hitting peaks. You have to have valleys. You have to have moments of quiet where there's nothing happening. So you can't overstimulate the player. You can't have noises going off constantly. Otherwise, it just becomes background noise and you tune it out. You can't let yourself be seen constantly. Like, it would be neat if there's some way to visualize the player's vision cone more completely, so that you could pull that little move where as the player is like looking around, you're just like halfway hidden behind a tree.
Yeah.
Trees are. I think you can just straight up hide behind trees. I'm not sure that I think it does just totally block the vision.
Mm-hmm.
At the line of sight. The other I did like that. I thought about the tension though. It reminded. It's almost like there's a. It's weird, but it's you are working towards a goal that the player or that the non-player character is like working against. The non-player character is trying to win the game, right? But like the weird meta element of like the fact that it's you're stream sniping a streamer and you're also building tension and trying to scare the streamer. It's almost like a collaborative thing because you're working towards kind of a wholesome goal, which is like freak the streamer out so it gets more views.
Yeah,
I thought that element was very captivating to me. I really like that.
Well, you know what? And I, it's fun to put a positive spin on it, but I couldn't help but just come up with the sort of dark idea that the like entity in this game like draws more power, like it manifests itself into reality if it gets more attention. So it's like trying to manipulate the streamer into getting more viewers, so that it can like infect the minds of people with this like contagious idea of its existence.
Very super hot of you, or like very like someone with that vibe of twist. I totally understand that.
You know, I just finished listening to a podcast episode of Watch Out for Fireballs, where they are talking about the sinking city. So it's got a lot of like Cthulhu mythos stuff in it, and that kind of idea of like contagious ideas or thoughts or something is something they explore in the game, or they have explored.
Persona was the comparison with that I should have been thinking of.
I haven't actually played any of the Persona games.
The idea of like the collective subconscious, like that's sort of where Persona 5 is.
Okay, well, I got a better score this time of like 203. I don't know what is a do you know what like a good number of viewers to have is?
That's probably about as good as I've done, I think. I'm honestly not very good at this game. So
Yeah,
I would say you've done good.
I haven't played it all that much. I mean, our two other games were like fun little arcade shooters, and we were all trying to like beat each other's score. This one was sort of like, hey, we made like a cutesy little fun thing. That ended up getting way more serious than we anticipated. I didn't really play it all that much.
Yeah, well, do you have any plans to continue development of the game?
We were throwing ideas around. I think it's hard now that we're all back in school now, especially because I'm studying game design, so I'm gonna be working on other games and stuff for assignments. So I mean, we'll see. I guess. Yeah, we had a few ideas. Nothing concrete really, though.
One such idea, just to like if I was pitching the puzzle game idea, but it would be cute to have a mini game in the, like a la not necessarily this is not the right comparison, but like how Super Monkey Ball has this physics engine, and they use it to like do like the like what is it, like the ones where they launch themselves. I forget what that mini game is called.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking
Monkey
about.
Target.
Monkey Target. But in a similar vein, it would be cool to have to just use the engine and the mechanics if we could touch it up to like, for instance, make a puzzle game where you have to allow the streamer to go in certain areas, but by scaring him, like get him out of danger or something. Was like just like cutesy little puzzles like that was something that I think I pitched at one point as like a mini game.
I think my thought also is to my thought was like if we were going to expand it, turn it into a sort of mini narrative thing, have maybe 3 to 5 streamers in the game and have some sort of overarching thing. I think my thing was like it is kind of ironic. I almost wanted to turn it into a horror thing, but more like a surreal horror of leaning into this. Because if you examine the sort of strange meta thing going on in this game, I wanted to sort of lean into that, I think, and how just like see how strange it could get was my thought.
Yeah, I think there's definitely like room for exploration. We've thrown a few ideas around. That I think that all of those are viable. Those are all things that you could end up pursuing. But I also think that the idea exists, and like the idea as it exists right now, um, totally works. You don't necessarily, as you say, if you don't have time to come back and build an updated version of it, then it stands on its own as it is right now. But yeah, so that being said, um, do you recall if there was one particularly difficult problem that you encountered during the development of the game, and what was your solution to that?
That's a good question. I'm trying to think. I feel like a lot of it was difficult because I mean, as we said, it was very. I think for me at least, I think the most difficult part was just doing this game where I don't know what it is until it's done.
Mm-hmm.
I think like an easy
Um,
thing to say would be it's 3D, and I mean you have experience, Drew, making um like a 3D horror game, but like we've been making sort of 2D games. I mean, whenever I've made like a video game, it's been like a 2D game like my whole life. So just like adding a third dimension is always a little bit challenging.
yeah, I think for me though, the biggest like takeaway from this jam was like, I guess to not play it safe as much because as I said, like it's instead of just having like, here's what I know I can do in 48 hours, and like I can picture in my head what it's going to look like and then just work towards that, and that's done. Like I think we all learned a lot more just being like, I don't know how we're going to do this, but we're just going to try it, and it might end up good and it might not.
Mm-hmm.
Like having that out of we all have like stuff going on, and this year we can't commit enough time to this game, so it's not going to turn out looking super polished like that. That sort of gave us a like an out and an excuse to be like, okay, so like what do we really want to do here, like what would be fun,
Yeah, yeah.
sort of treat it as practice.
No, but it's totally meta though. It's not that the game. It's there's an in-universe reason for why the game looks like
Yeah,
this.
no, no, no. I'm actually incredibly proficient 3D artist. Um, usually I actually, I work for Blizzard as a side gig or whatever on Overwatch 2 and all that. I was just doing an ironic thing here.
Um, but yeah, so I think we've covered most of the questions that I typically ask. So if anybody has any questions they'd like to ask in chat, please do so now. In the meantime, do you have any other projects that you'd like to plug or social media channels you'd like to drop a link to in chat?
I mean, as I said, I'm in school for game design now, so I will definitely. I have other games up and stuff. We also have other games from previous game
Yeah.
jams and such. Um, I'm Orgonzola on itch. I have stuff up, and I will have stuff coming up, in the fall and in the next few months. Don't know what yet, but there will be stuff coming. Um, I'm Orgonzola on itch. It's Organzola. Orgonzola Games on Twitter. Not saying the other thing. It's Twitter and Instagram.
Yeah, that came up earlier on the stream, and I agree.
Yeah. I'm not really a game designer. I don't know exactly what I am, but doubly shout out Orgonzola. He's been making games since I've known him. Uh, I'm in like broadcasting and stuff. I work very diligently at my college radio station and stuff. So I shout out if you're in the Rochester area, I'll plug WRUR 88.5. But other than that, I'm not a professional.
And check out Jax as well. He's got
Check out
his
Jax.
itch page you can find through the game page. He's got our jam games he's worked on. and he has
He has the Half-Life calculator.
the Half-Life calculator.
He's got the Walters Oil Tycoon.
Is that on his page?
Combine
I don't know if
calculator.
that's-
Yeah, there it is. Yeah.
Cool. Well, if you do have any other projects that you end up working on together or individually, like any other Jam games that you want to send my way, I'd be more than happy to take a look at those and have you back on in a similar interview capacity. But yeah, thank you so much for coming on and talking about the game. And yeah, congratulations on hitting the top 20.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, it was a pleasure.
All right, and I guess I'll round things out. I don't know when you end the game, but I've got a record high 244 people watching the in-game stream here. So
Not bad, or maybe bad. I'm not really sure.
it remains a mystery.
It's a meta commentary. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I think that might
Commentary
be
on the.
Sorry.
So it's a commentary on the jackpot-esque nature of internet fame and popularity.
I mean that is absolutely a true thing, but it would be very funny if the numbers in the game actually like didn't correspond to anything and like it was just completely random.
That would be funny. It would make for a pretty bad game mechanic.
Well, you know what? It comes down to a little bit of the intention behind an experience. Like there are some games that have mechanics which people deride and say like, oh, I really don't like that. But others will argue like, well, it contributes to the feeling of the game. Like personally, I don't like the fact that in the Souls franchise you lose your experience when you die. I think that's subtractive and it just wastes your time. So I mod that out whenever I play a Souls game.
So that's a really interesting take.
Oh yeah, but I mean, I
was
know
thinking
it's
Souls games. I was thinking the only Souls game I've really played all the way through is the first Dark Souls. My mind, you go to the Dark Souls 1 where your weapon will just like break and like half in attack power. That one just sucks. That one I don't think anyone should defend that one.
Well, I think the most telling thing is that one of the reasons I fell off of Dark Souls 1 is because I got tired of doing the run up to the boss every single time. And sure enough, in subsequent games they have added checkpoints closer and closer to bosses, like especially as of Sekiro and Elden Ring. So it kind of goes to show that like, no, you shouldn't always jump to defend 100% of the decisions that a developer has made, because here's proof that the studio is actually learning and improving their games towards a certain vision. But on the other hand, both Sekiro especially, they've really not backed down from their stance of just a purely difficult experience with no easy mode. And I do think that's a shame just for accessibility reasons. But yeah, anyway, it's a total tangent. But in terms of in terms of a small jam project, this is where that mechanic of hey, that's actually like perfect timing. It looks like the character is wrapping up in game. Maybe they only go for 3 out of the 8 Tesseracts, because it seems like they've stopped at that number each time. But anyway, just to continue my point, what I was saying was that a short jam game like this one is the perfect opportunity to explore a mechanic or a concept that wouldn't feel good in an hours-long experience. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Totally understood. Yeah.
Just insofar as like I agree that you don't want a mechanic that feels like a drag or feels counterintuitive to be something that pervades a game that you play for the sake of enjoyment. But I think people do need to broaden their definition of what they come to games for. They can acknowledge that a game exists for more than just fun. And that's not necessarily what people are always going to be in the mood for. And I think a game needs to do a good job at communicating the intended experience. It's really important because I come to games for fun and I bounce hard off of a game if I'm not having fun playing it.
That totally makes
Yeah.
sense. I think
Yeah,
I definitely I can definitely agree. I'm not even like I've made a lot of game references and I've been playing video games my whole life, but I've never really like considered myself a gamer necessarily, even though like yeah, like I've thought about going to Smash Bros. Tournaments and like I've thought about like I was playing TF2 when I was like 12 years old, like competitive TF2 on like Mumble back when Mumble existed. Uh, but like I totally agree. Yeah, playing a game and just having it like drag and feeling making it feel like a chore, but like a non-repeatable chore with a poor gameplay loop. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean I'm kind of paraphrasing slash quoting some of the sentiments from this The Art of Game Design, A Book of Lenses. This is the main like game design book that I would still recommend to people. So in fact, Drew, if you're studying game design, I'm curious, did this come up at all in the literature?
No, it did not actually. There was one I did read a bit of. I'm forgetting the name of it. I have read some game design theory, but I've not heard of that one.
Okay.
That sounds
Yeah.
interesting though.
Yeah, it's definitely one I would recommend taking a look at. I mean, I'm gonna drop a link in chat here, and I can drop the link in the Discord chat as well. Um, you can
thank you.
probably, Google name of book PDF if you wanted to preview it. I got a copy of this when it was like closer to $30 for a paperback. $84 seems like a lot to me. But you might find that it's worth it. I think the lessons in this book are very foundational to just thinking about games and game design outside of the sort of, how should I say this? There's kind of like an outside impression that you can form about what it means to make a game if all you do is consume games. This one talks more about the heart of what lies within a game, and that is an experience. And that is ultimately what is at the heart of every bit of art that we consume. Like a piece of art is always designed to evoke an experience in the audience.
Yeah.
And with games, what is unique about them, obviously, is their interactivity and the fact that the player can actually participate in that. And I think that kind of inadvertently identifies why some people are at odds with like walking sims or other games where the player's input doesn't feel like it matters, like there isn't any choice or impact that you have on the story. It just feels like you're reading a book. Which I would push back and say, like, that's not necessarily a problem if the game is successfully delivering its experience. And the problem might come from the difference in expectation, where the person playing the game might have been expecting it to be one thing, and then when they actually get into it, it turns out to be another, right?
For sure, yeah.
Yeah,
I definitely agree that there's. I mean, I think there's a lot to be explored with games in terms of like narrative and just in general as well. Because I
it's an
think there
art just like
are
anything else.
what?
It's an art just like anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of preconceived notions about what games are or should be that haven't been challenged, and like it's only been what 40 years, 50 years video games have been a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's definitely a lot to do and a lot to say with them. Um, Yeah.
Yeah, but I guess the other side of that argument is it's great to do some of that exploration to to sort of tie this all back. It's great to do some of that exploration in the game jam space where you are designing an experience that is like 5 to 10 minutes long, because it strictly does not make sense to do some of these more experimental mechanics when you are a AAA studio, working with hundreds of thousands of dollars in budget, employing dozens of people, trying to run a business. Like it just the risks you can take, unfortunately, um, constrain the nature of the art you produce. And it's just it's that ever shifting balance of thinking about, like, are the games we consume art, or are they a product, or are they a little bit of both?
For
Yeah,
sure. Yeah. I
it's like
definitely
we're
think games. I mean, not just that you're making a short experience, but also that it's hey, it's 2 days.
Yeah.
If you try something crazy and it doesn't work, well, it's like it's 2 days, not a big deal. You
and
know.
indie games have
Um,
been the space also where like those like total like they're it's a lot harder to make an indie game. It's a lot harder to make a good indie game. You don't have the resources, you don't have the people, it's not as polished, but you're also not necessarily beholden to like like shareholders
Mhm.
in the business. You don't have to take you don't have to be so do these reliable choices. I totally agree with that.
Yeah. Well, thank you for indulging this kind of philosophical tangent we got into at the end here, but it's good timing because this is where we'd be wrapping things up anyway. But yeah, I'll just say it again. Thank you both for coming on the stream. And if you do have another Jam game that you produce, or just another project in general that you'd like my feedback or to come on the stream and chat about, I'd be more than happy to take a look.
yeah. Thank
Thank you
you.
so much.
Great to be here. Great to be on.
All right.
Excellent to be on.
Thank you. Well, enjoy the rest of your day, and bye bye for now.
Thank you. Yeah,
Thanks. Have a good one.
you
You
too.
too. Bye.